I am going to record this today. And thank you all for taking some time out of your day to learn a little bit more about Viewpath. And what we'll do, there's just a few of us on the call, so I've taken off the mute function. So feel free to jump in with any questions that you may have as we go along the way. If there's different functionalities that you want more information on, if you're comfortable with something and you want me to skate right past that, I can make this as flexible as you need. The initial plan was to do just a general overview of the application. If anyone wants specific questions answered, we can always dig into different features and functionality in a deeper context after the overview. The overview should take about 30 minutes. Okay. Is there anything that anyone has as a question up front before we get started?
Yeah, this is Rob. Using a map, how do you select a series of lines? On a PC, you would normally select check a box, keep your key depressed, and then go down however far. But that does not seem to work on a map. Is there an alternate key combo to do that?
Are you looking strictly for keyboard commands or using your trackpad?
Using a trackpad.
Okay, trackpad, that's what I use as well. So you have a couple of different options for selection in Viewpath. If you want to do a multi-line selection and you want to select all of the information on the line, you can run right along the numbers and just drag right down, and that's going to select all of the cell information. You can also do that same multi-selection but specific to a group of cells. So if, for example, you just wanted to copy the project name, you can see that just the cells for the project name are highlighted now. And this is useful if you're doing copy and paste between Excel or other projects.
Cool. No, it looks simple now that you've explained it. Thank you.
Absolutely. Sometimes it's just those little things that make a big difference in how everything works within the app. All right, so we'll go ahead and jump right in. So the Today page is the first page that everyone is going to land on when they first log into Viewpath. Depending on whether or not anyone's added you to other projects, this page may be blank for you. If someone has already added you to a project and assigned you to different tasks, this is a spot where you are going to see all of the tasks that you are assigned to across all projects. So it gives you one spot where you can look and see what you need to do without having to jump into multiple different projects, find those tasks, and then update them. So you can see the project name in this column, the task name, and then from this spot you also have the ability to update the percent complete. Logitech is doing a 0, 50, 100% set completion level. So 0 if it's not started, 50% if it's in progress, and 100% once it's been completed. And you can see once I mark a task 100% complete, we've got a line that's drawn through. In this particular view, you'll see this until the next time that you refresh your browser or you log out and log back in. And at that point, it's going to automatically hide completed tasks from your view. So this view is constantly updated as you make those changes. If you ever want to go back and see those completed tasks, or you accidentally updated something as complete and it really wasn't, you can uncheck that filter, see those completed tasks, mark something as not yet completed, or adjust the completion level, and then the next time that you log in, that completed filter is going to be applied again. You can also add documents and comments directly to your task from this Today page view. So Logitech is all Enterprise Edition, which means they have an unlimited number of documents, and you can upload either directly from your computer, or you can add links to Google Drive docs or any online site. And then you also have a threaded list of comments. And comments are a nice way of tracking different issues that may be applicable to each individual task. It could be just strictly information related to that task. It could be items that you want to keep track of because they could potentially impact your ability to complete the task on time. So you can see what the comment is, who made the comment, and the date and time that that particular comment was left. And then you can see it's listed in like a threaded list. If you have multiple comments attached to a task, you do have a quick down button here so that you can scroll to the bottom and see the most recent comments. Okay. And this number shows you the number of comments on each particular task. And when you hover over that, you can also get a quick preview of those comments as well. This information, documents and comments, and the percent complete, if you update or adjust any of this information here at the Today page level, that change is also going to be reflected inside the project. Now your task name, you can see I have two different types of task names here. If your task name is a hyperlink, when you click on that task name, it's going to open the project up for you as an active project tab, and it's going to highlight that task for you in the task list, so you can easily find it in the list view. And again, you can see the documents and comments are here visible inside the project view that you can take a look at. And if you make a change either here at the project level or from that home page, Home Today page, you're going to see that percent complete update. So those updates are synchronized between both views. The other type of task view that you'll see here is this task name is grayed out. And this means that I do not have visibility to this particular project, so I cannot see the overall project details. But I can see any tasks that I am specifically assigned to complete. There are a lot of times there are people that you're going to be working with that you would like them to contribute on the projects, but they don't necessarily need to be able to see the entire project details. So you have the ability to set the access level and how much visibility they have within the project on a project-by-project basis. Now, throughout the application, we do have a series of things that make it easier for you to customize the application to your particular wants and needs. You can drag and drop columns. So if you hover over the top of a column, you'll see that little purple line, and then you can grab that column and drop it to the location that you want it to be in. You can expand and collapse the column size so that it's to your preference. And then if you hover in any of the column headers, you'll see this little green arrow box pop up. And from here, you can sort any of these columns, and you can also add additional columns to your view. Now, by default, we show you a select set of columns. Part of that is to help minimize the amount of information that people come in. It's really easy to get overwhelmed with the amount of information. As you can see, we have over 60 different columns that you can add to your project view. So try to keep it simple for everyone, and then the more information that you like to see and want to hear, you can customize that to your particular needs. And these specifications that you set up, they're specific to you and your computer. So these are cookies that are stored in your browser. So you can, once you set those, it's not going to affect anyone else's view. Each person's view is completely customized. Under your login name, you also have the ability to change the overall architecture. So you can change the language to one of 15 different language options. If your project is created in English, then the tasks names will still be in English, but you'll see the duration, the days, that's all going to reflect the language that you have selected. And oftentimes that makes it easier to maneuver around the application itself. You can also choose from one of 3 different date formats. And again, this is a selection that is unique to each individual, so you can have something different from the person you sit next to.
And Cheryl, could you select, reveal and select the formatting on the date to the right of the duration?
Absolutely. And this is something on the start and finish columns. Again, you have that date format selection, so you can change what that looks like.
So there's no, if you're kind of starved for column space, there's no selection, I don't think, that could just do a simple day and month. It's always going to give you that elongated.
It is. I will tell you that is one of the most requested features that I have in front of the developers, and our next platform will absolutely have a date and
Great. Okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm. And you can also open up and close that Gantt chart. Some people really love the Gantt chart view. Some people can't stand it. So again, if you don't like it, just click on that Gantt button and you can close it or open it depending on your preference. Okay. And within this view, you also have additional filters depending on how how much initiative each of your coworkers has. They may plan out their projects months in advance. And your today page list is a little bit of a misnomer because it's really all tasks assigned to you. It can potentially get lengthy depending on how far out those projects are planned. So you do have the option to find this list down and take a look at just those tasks that are due within the next 5, 10, or 15 days. And that can be a useful thing. Okay. Now the Projects tab is the spot where you are going to see any projects either that you have created or that you have been granted visibility to, as well as any project templates. Now, all of our users have access to the timeline view. And the timeline view is great because it's a nice way to look at your projects on more of a calendar type of basis. You can take this down to the hours if you want to look at the micro level, or out to the quarters if you want to look at the macro. So again, it's a nice way of looking. You can see the current month is highlighted in green, and it gives you that ability to take a look and see, can you add additional projects? What are where are we at with our overall load? This view also gives you, go ahead.
So did you access that through the View menu? I just want to.
You can, these three views are the options for the project views. So this is the timeline view. Gotcha. And then I'll touch on the status view here in a moment. So the blue line represents, absolutely, the blue line represents the overall length of the project. So again, you can see this is based on the calendar. And then the dark gray portion is the portion of the project that has been completed. And then the diamond icons are milestones that have been identified inside of the project. So if the milestone is white, that means the milestone has not yet been completed. And if the milestone is black, it means it has been completed. And you'll notice that when I hover over the milestone icon, it also brings up the name of that milestone inside the project. So this is a quick way that you can check those high-level milestones, see what the progress is, and give you a quick bird's eye view of that project. Okay. And then all of our Logitech users also have access to our status view, which is the color-coded quick visual of where your project is at. Now, Ben, who's my alter ego today, you can see a lot of his projects are running behind from all the red that jumps out on you on the screen. But the blue is the portion of the project that's in progress and is not yet overdue or hasn't been completed. When you are really lucky, you see a little bit of green, which means that your project is actually ahead of schedule. Red is overdue, dark gray is completed, and you have the same visual cue to your milestones on this view. So the white is not completed and black is completed. And when you hover over these project schedule bars, you're also going to see a schedule variance show up. So you can see in this case, this particular project is 79 days behind schedule. This project is 5 days ahead of schedule. So it gives you that nice, quick, again, a high-level overview. The Projects tab also has a lot of other information about the projects, so you can add a quick high-level project description. It's going to show you the overall % complete of the project, the earliest start date and latest finish date within the project. If you would like to track costs, you can set the project level budget here. And then you can also see the most current update and who performed that update. Okay. Now we have portfolios, and also a brand new one that we have is the program column. Now these two columns are, if you think of adding tags at the project level, it gives you the ability to group your projects into different subsections. Some of the most common ones are going to be type, so like keyboards or mice, and it could be regions, it could be project manager's name. So you want to think about what type of groupings or tags make sense for you guys to be able to apply at the project level. And then these become filters that you can apply here on the Projects tab and are also available in cross-project reporting as well. So for example, you can click this filter icon, which is under the undo button, and we can say, show me only those projects in my portfolio. So I'm going to say, show me Cheryl's projects. You can see that these projects all belong to, except for this one, all belong to more than one portfolio. So you can simply add a comma, and that allows you to add a second or subsequent portfolio column tag. Now, I do caution that you don't go over 3 per column just because it gets messy. It gets kind of hard to continue sorting. So usually 3 is about the max that I would recommend. But this portfolio and program filters allow you to focus in on a specific subset of projects and get a view into those groups. Then to turn that off, you just deselect that filter and you're back to your full project list. Okay, any questions on any of that? All right. Let's take a quick look at a template that we have created. So this is a very basic, very simple template. A couple of things that we have done with this template. We've created parent and child tasks. We have project dependencies set up. We have milestones identified. We've added color to different tasks. And we've also set up a project summary line, which gives you what I call a super parent. So everything rolls up to this top level. It becomes really useful for reporting, cross-project reporting, if you want to look for specific information on a project-by-project basis in your reports. So these are some of the different pieces that you can do. If you think about templates, you want to set your templates up with as much information as you can because the templates really help streamline your project creation process. You can set up the assignees. If you don't know the specific person that will be performing the job, you can also set up a role. And then on a project-by-project basis, you can fill that particular role. So again, as much information as you can pre-build into your template so that you're just tweaking your individual projects really helps streamline that project creation process. And we are going to create a brand new project here. And we'll just go through a couple of different task and parent-child creation options. So when you create a new project, whether it's copying an existing project, creating it from template, or creating a brand new one, that project's going to open for you in the As an Active Project tab. From there, you can add tasks to your project by clicking this task icon in the toolbar. I'll set this one up as a parent task. You can add assignees by double-clicking in the assignee columns. If you've copied an existing project or template, you have the option of bringing over the resources that were on that project or template. So this assignments list could be longer for you. You can also add assignees directly in this location. So you can add in their name or their email address, and they will be automatically added to the resources tab for you. We also give you the option to differentiate between work and duration. So work is the amount of time that a task will actually take to complete, and duration is the length of time that you give someone to complete that work. And if you're doing any resource allocation, this is going to make a big difference in what your allocation looks like as you look to see how overloaded your resources are. And then you can set the start or finish dates. You can click on the calendar. You can jump through to different months. And the advanced column allows you to set constraints on a task and also to specify a task as a milestone. So now you can see we have our parent task here. You can see our milestone icon. The other way that you can quickly add default tasks to your view is by clicking this plus in the lower left-hand corner. So you can click that plus and it's going to add what we call default tasks to your view, and then you can do some quick inline editing. We'll do our multi-cell selection here, and I'm going to hit enter to update all of these tasks with the same information. Okay, and then it's just a real quick.
Cheryl, can you pause for a second? How did you get? How did you rename all of those child tasks?
So what? Absolutely. So when you grab a couple, what you want to do is you're highlighting a specific cell. And you can do this throughout the application within any cell. So if, for example, we wanted to change all of these start dates, highlight those cells and then hit the enter key. And then we'll select the November 23rd, and you can see that they're all updated.
Thank you.
All right. And then to create the parent and child relationship, we want to select our child tasks, and then all tasks are moved in Viewpath using the blue arrow keys in the toolbar. So we're going to use this right indent arrow key, and you can see that our parent task now is bolded, and our child tasks are indented, and the WBS is automatically built for you. Now, the parent task becomes a roll-up, and so you cannot change the percent complete, the duration, the start or finish date. Those are going to reflect the information within the child task itself. So as you mark these tasks complete, you're going to see that roll-up to the parent level is done automatically for you. Now you can also set up project dependencies, or task dependencies, excuse me. So select the tasks that you want to link together, and we do have a finish to start link icon in the toolbar. It's the most common linking. And now you can see, once we link those, that all of our tasks are now linked together. When you have tasks that are linked, when you move those linked tasks, any successor tasks are automatically rescheduled for you. It's really nice because you don't have to reschedule every single individual task. Now you'll notice that these tasks that I have down below, they are not linked, so they remain in their set position until you move those tasks. Tasks can also be moved on the Gantt chart by drag and drop, or you can select a different calendar entry in the list view. You can also change the duration of those tasks by extending that view on the duration as well, or I'm sorry, on the Gantt chart as well. Okay. We also have, under the link menu, you have the options to link your tasks start to start or finish to finish. So those are options for you as well. Any questions on task linking or moving? All right. So now we'll go to our Home Projects tab. We're going to create a new project. And I'm actually going to create a new project using our template now. We'll walk through that process because really templates are extremely valuable. So the more information you can build into those templates, the better off you will be. I am going to select all resources, and we'll talk about what that option looks like real quick here. When you set up your resources on your template, you have the ability to say, I want 15 different people to have visibility to this template. Those people could be people that are going to use the templates for creating projects. They could be people that are stakeholders, managers, people that you want to automatically be brought over into those projects so that they have visibility to those projects. So depending on how you want to set up your projects, generally the most useful thing is to bring over an import all resources. And then it's really easy to delete anyone that you do not need to have on your project. So we'll go to our resources tab, and you can see these are a couple of my stakeholders that I have set up on my template. I want them to have visibility to my project, so I brought them all over with that import all resources option during my project creation process. Now the next thing I need to do is I need to fill these roles on my project. So we're going to go to our Analyst 1 position, and we'll put Jan in there. And we're going to replace her, that role with her email name, or name and email address. Okay. And now when you go back to the Tasks tab, you're going to see that any tasks that were assigned to that Analyst 1 position are automatically now reflecting Jan's name. So the app does that for you. Okay. And we have 6 different access levels that you can assign to your resources. None means that they have no access to the project or to any tasks that they are assigned to. This is good if your project's in the planning stages. Sometimes people have larger projects that are going to take longer to plan and they don't want to publish it out to everyone's dashboards. Or if you have a piece of equipment that obviously is not going to log in to check its tasks, you could set that at that access level at none as well. Now, a guest cannot see the overall project details. They're only going to see the tasks they are specifically assigned to on their individual Today page when they first log in. An observer can view the overall project details, but they cannot make any changes to those project details. The exception to that is that they can update the percent complete of tasks they are specifically assigned to, as well as adding documents and comments to the project. So they can see everything, but they cannot make changes to start or finish date or add resources or make any adjustments that could potentially negatively impact your project end date. And then to be an editor, manager, or owner, both you and the resource have to be on a paid edition of Viewpath. Logitech has an enterprise-wide access with us. So everyone at Logitech is automatically upgraded. We do that every 24 hours. So if you need an immediate upgrade, please feel free to contact us at support@viewpath.com. But that is done every 24 hours at the minimum. So an editor can add, edit, and delete your project tasks, but they cannot add additional resources to the project. And then a manager can edit the project details as well as accounting information associated with the project. And they can add project resources with the exception of owners. And then owners have full access rights. And you can have any combination of these access levels. You can have multiple owners, multiple observers, especially for Logitech where you're all enterprise, you have no limitations. Right. Now, once your project is built out and you're ready to invite everyone to the project, then you want to select everyone. I'm only selecting those people that I actually have resource emails for. And you're going to go up and do an invitation email. This does two different things. If the resource is brand new to Viewpath and has never logged in or created their user account, then it's going to give them instructions for how to walk through that process and do so. If they have already created their account, they'll get a different email that says you've been invited to participate in this project, and it gives them a hot link so they can jump right in and get started. I will also use this as a method of emailing my entire team on the project. So you have the ability to say, to add in a custom message. So if I need a quick project update, you don't have to go into your email. You can copy yourself so it does land in your email, but it will create that message and send that update out quickly and easily for you. Right, and project workdays. Again, this is one thing, holidays can be set up on the template level. So this is another piece where it's really nice to be able to set that information up at the template level. Generally, rule of thumb is that when your holidays come out for the next year, go in and update your templates with those. And then you may have a couple of projects that are going to cross over in that time frame that you may have to add additional holiday dates for, but that really helps streamline your holiday process. You can see I have holidays that were already specified on my template, so those were brought over. I can also add holidays if you're working with a local municipality or a group that has a holiday that is not on your standard list. You can add that holiday in for this particular project. You can also set the work hours on the project. So the green hours or green blocks are those hours that are selected. By default, the setting is 8 to 4, regular 8-hour workday. If, for example, you have a meeting every Monday and you want to block out that time so that tasks are not scheduled around that time, you can deselect those blocks and then tasks will automatically skip over that 1-hour time period and be scheduled around that. So you have some flexibility in setting up those resource workdays. Okay. Now, once you get your project filled out, we've gone through sharing your project using resources and adding people to the project itself. But sometimes you'll want to share the project details with someone who is not specifically listed as a resource on the project. So we have publishing capabilities, and under the Publish tab, you have the ability to create a snapshot. Now, a snapshot is a picture of your project at this specific moment in time. And each project snapshot has its own unique URL, and you can actually grab this URL and you can put it in an email, you can post it in an iframe, you can send it to anyone whether or not they have a Viewpath account. And what they will get is a completely interactive but fully non-editable view of your project details. So you can see here's the name of our project and the date and time at which that snapshot was taken. You can open and close parent and child levels. You can maneuver on the Gantt chart. You can go out to the quarters and down to the hours. So it's a nice way of being able to share those project details. We also have the ability for you to choose which columns are exported. by design, documents, comments, and any cost columns are not available to be exported to snapshots. This is because these are considered potential proprietary information and very confidential, and you should be logged into the application if you want to be able to see those particular details, because a snapshot can be shared with anyone. So you have the ability to choose which columns you want exported to your snapshot, so you can customize your look and feel of your particular snapshots. You also have the ability to customize which rows are exported. So you can restrict the rows. So if, for example, you wanted to send just the project summary and you didn't want all of the details of all the child tasks sent up to those snapshots, you can restrict the rows for those child tasks and create a snapshot view that looks just like this. So it's really flexible. The other big use that we have for snapshots is actually a method of versioning. Excuse me, pardon me. So it's a great way of being able to take a look at your, take a picture of your project at different points within your project. Logitech has the ability to take an unlimited number of snapshots. I have some people that will take them every day. I have some people that will take them once a week. I have some that will only do it at major project changes. But it's a nice way, again, of being able to track those changes and take a look. It's also a nice safety measure because you can actually copy this information, and you can just do a Control-C on your keyboard. You could go back to your project itself and you could paste that information. So you have the ability to essentially restore different information that could potentially be changed by someone if they changed it erroneously. Okay. And I'm going to actually jump over to a different project here. We're going to take a look at the Summary tab. Now, the Summary tab is our newest set of functionality that's been added recently. The Summary tab gives you a spot where you can do an extension of reporting specific to this particular project. The Objectives tab also gives you a spot where you can gather information that is specific to the project, but is not really task specific. So you have different text boxes where you can add the project summary, your key manager, your project manager and key individuals, any other information that you want to track. So it's really kind of a catch-all for different project information. And then we have a series of reports that are pulled for this particular project. So you can see the task status, and the pie chart is going to show you that 15 of these tasks are currently late, 3 are okay, and you can see those tasks here. You also have the ability to filter within this particular project view. So you can hide those tasks that are completed. You can look at tasks that are just those that are late. So you can, hide those tasks that are late. So you can change these different filters and take a look at these different options. You can also filter on the date range for the information that you would like to see as well. We have a pre-built overdue task list for you, and you'll see this list change and adjust as your project details change. Milestones, and again, you can filter and say, I don't want to see milestones that are completed. So you have a lot of different options there. Upcoming tasks, you have the option to look at the next 7, 30, or all future. And then sometimes it's really nice going into a meeting, be able to pull up a quick report of what's been completed. You can pull up this completed, and you can filter on the finish date, and you can pull up the most recent tasks right up at the top there to take a look and see what's been recently completed. Viewpath also gives you the method of setting a level of risk on tasks, depending on what your particular vision of those risk potentials for the tasks are. You have a risk column that you can add to the tasks tab, and the level of risk is 1 through 5 that you could assign to each individual task. You have a text box here that allows you to add some additional text information about each risk or specific risks. And then we give you a heat map that shows the number of risks at each particular level. The risks are displayed here. Any task that has been specifically identified as a risk is going to be displayed in the list down below. The Resources tab allows you to take a look and see the number of hours that each particular resource has been assigned on this particular project and the overall percent of that project's work that they are responsible for completing. And then you can select a resource and take a look at the tasks that they are specifically assigned to. Again, you can see those documents. You can add a comment directly from this location. You can see the overall status. And these columns are all filterable and sortable as well.
Cheryl,
If
is there any, Cheryl, is there any view that would show resource allocation across multiple projects or only within a single project?
There is actually, we have both inside. This is actually an extension of the resource allocation. This is more specific to looking at each individual resource. So I'll show you the individual project resource allocation and the cross-project allocation. Okay. And I know Logitech doesn't generally track costs, but if you decide to track costs within Viewpath, you do have budgeting capabilities. Now, your planned versus actual is great for taking a look and see what you planned versus what you actually did. So once your project has been set up and it's ready to go, it's really quick to set a baseline on that project. So you could go up to Advanced, Set Baseline. When you set the baseline, it's going to populate all of the planned columns, and it's going to allow you to do some planned versus actual comparison planning. So you can see the red line is the actual, the blue is what our planned was, and you can filter. The variance column is going to show you where any of your differences are. These can be both positive and negative, and then you have the ability to look at all these different planned options. Okay, and then custom data. If you recall, our portfolios and programs were tags at the project level. We have labels, categories, and departments as tags at the task level. So these are custom columns where you can put the information that is relevant to you and your groups. And then you can filter on that information. And you can combine these filters. So if you want to take a look at tasks that are general and are regional finance, and filter down on those lists. One other piece to note, just like everywhere else in the application, you can highlight these fields and copy and paste them into a Word document, into Excel, wherever you need to put that information. All right. And now to go to our resource allocation. So to open up the resource allocation within the project, you're going to click this 3-bar chart icon in the upper right-hand corner. And let's jump to Jan here, take a look at her. Now by default, it's going to show you the resource allocation for the entire team that you have identified. If you want to look at a specific person, you can click on that person's name and you can see what the resource allocation for that person looks like on this particular project. Now as you make changes to those projects, you are going to see that resource allocation. Let's actually make this Jan as well. So as you make changes to those project details, you're going to see that project resource allocation increase or decrease. Adding a resource to a project is going to make a change, changing the duration, changing the overall finish. You're going to see how those different changes affect the overall resource allocation for this particular resource. You can go through any series of what if planning, and then if you hit some scenarios that you decide you don't want, we have an undo button, so you can go through and undo or redo any series of events during your current login session or from the last time that you refreshed your browser. You also have the ability to set the availability of each resource. So if they're working multiple projects, you want to change this. So in this case, Jan is working 4 projects, so we put her at 25% available for each individual project. And then yellow means that they are under allocated, green means that they are well allocated, and red means that they are over allocated. Okay. Now to get a cross-project view, you're going to go to the Home tab, and you want to have any projects that you want to report against, and this is true for both reports and for cross-project allocation. Have those open as active project tabs across the top. If you want to open up multiple projects at the same time, you can select those project checkboxes and you can go to File and Open. If you open up a group of projects, you want to click into one of them and let the project data load. You don't have to click into each individual project, but just to one of the group. And then you can go to your cross-project allocation. It's going to show you any resources on these particular projects, and then you can take a look by day. This again goes down to the hours, or you can take it out to the quarters, and then you can take a look and see where your potential issues may lie. You can expand these individual resources and you can see what projects they are working on. And from here, if you have an issue, you can jump right into that project. It's going to highlight that task for you, and it's going to allow you to make those changes. We don't allow you to make changes here on the cross-project view because it's important that you be able to see how those changes could potentially affect the project itself. So you do have to make those changes inside the project. Any questions on that? All right. I'll jump to reports. So reports is similar to allocation. It's a cross-project list of filters that you can apply to your project information and take a look across multiple projects and see what information you need to pull out. To see everything across these active project tabs, you can click this reset filter and you'll see everything. You have the ability to filter this information. If I only want to see tasks that have not yet been completed. If I want to see those tasks which are milestones. So you can filter the information down until you get to the subset of information that you would like to report on. Once you get down to that information, you can create a PDF or you can copy and paste that information directly into an Excel spreadsheet. Okay. We also have some pre-built reports for you. So if you click on File and go to Standard Reports, you'll have all late tasks, my late tasks, all completed, my completed, and all milestones. And you can start with any of these particular task filters, and you can expand on them. So if you want to say, show me only those tasks which are related to customer service that are overdue and not yet complete. So you can really filter that information down and take a look at different areas. Okay. All right, so that's a real quick high level for you today. Any particular questions that you have at this point? I'm sorry, I can't quite hear the question.
I was wondering if you could tell again how to add a label to a task.
Oh, absolutely. Adding a label to a task, absolutely. So labels are specific to each individual project. This is another thing that you can set up at the template level so that you can have some consistency in your labels, and I definitely recommend that. But to add a label, you are going to click on a column header, and you're going to select columns, and then you can add the labels column. Under Advanced, we also have category and department, which they all function exactly the same way. So they're just custom tags that you can set up at the task level. And then once you have that set up, you can say, I want these specific labels. And then these will become available for you. You can add multiple labels to a task. And then you'll see when you click on this, now I have, it generates a list for you. And I absolutely recommend setting this up. This is one of those things where if you set up a project summary line, you can pre-populate those labels and categories and department columns. Because this information is specific to different users, it is subject to different spellings if someone has a typo. So setting those up at the at the template level really helps minimize the potential for user error. So you can see on this particular one, we set up customer service, marketing, stakeholders, and supply. And that means that I can select any task within my project once I've created it, and I can set up I can select from that pre-built list of labels. Okay. Color is another useful way of setting up different information within your task. So you can add the color column, and then we have 12 different color options that you can assign to each particular task. You can use the project summary line. You'll notice on my template I have it set up as yellow. I actually like to set that up as green. So we'll change that right now. One of the things that I like to do is say, your project is always going to start out as green. And as your project progresses, it may change and it may become that, this project is now in danger. I want to change that to a bright red or to a bright yellow. So you can use your red, yellow, green as an indicator. And then this becomes a filter that's available in reports. So if you're looking at cross-project reporting, you can filter on this color and bring up all projects that your project managers have identified as at risk. So it takes a little bit of thought ahead of time in terms of setting up some business rules and what you would like to have those different colors mean and specify those, but it can be really useful in your cross-project reporting. Any other questions? All right. Well, thank you very much for joining us today.